Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Full Quota Podcast. It is a Monday, so we've got our normal Full Quota Podcast episode that we do, a weekly one. This is our standing day. Outside of the fact that if there's public holidays or things that are happening in our lives, we will try and move this to either Tuesday or Wednesday, or the general other day podcast when we have people around, because sometimes people's schedules don't align with us, and that's what we do. We're a cricketing podcast from South Africa, and you can follow us on X at Full Quota Pod. You can follow us on YouTube. Like and subscribe, please do. If you're watching this, please like and subscribe. And also on top of that, on Apple Podcast and Spotify for the audio listeners. I think we've got like 3,000 listens since we went on Apple Podcast and Spotify, I think earlier this year. So doing really well on Spotify. Apple Podcast has a lot more. I'll get those stats for you, but we're growing the community. Thank you very much for your support. And then if you want to support us even further, please do buy us some coffee, buymecoffee.com. To help us keep going, just keep on supporting, just to let us know that you are listening to us, that you're watching us from wherever in the world. Any contribution is appreciated, small or large, just to keep us going, to bring out the content, interviews, discussion. And we've got a lot of things that we'd like to do on the pod, and the support will really, really help us. But I'm not alone. I've got a co-host. His name is Tim. He lives in Cape Town. He supports Western Province and was very happy because they played well yesterday and won up here in the Highveld. Tim, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, mate. I'm doing well. Yes. That was a bit of a surprise for me. We won't get into it, but I was pleasantly surprised by the way that we got the win out the bag in that one. Certainly.
Yeah, no, it was really good, and all I can say is I like Wesley Pitcher. But anyway, what we like to do at the start of the show, we'll talk about cricket around the world. I know England's playing Pakistan right now, and Sports is not showing it. I don't know if Tim has an opinion on that. I'm like, dude, so much T20 cricket going on. There's a World Cup, South Africa's in the UAE. Why do we need to watch Pakistan and England? But I do. I'd love to have watched that first test in Malta to see how England are doing. But anyway, the Proteas, the Proteas men's team are in the UAE playing Ireland. They've beaten them. They drew the T20 series, and now they are in the ODI series. And South Africa have won this 3-match series. They won the first match by 174 runs. They won the first match by 139 runs. The second match by 174 runs. And now they're actually currently playing, and Ireland are 79 without loss. And the big news out of there is Temba Bavuma is injured, and Reza Hendricks is coming in as his replacement. Vian Mulder's gone home as well for personal reasons. We hope it's not serious, and we hope it's all good news. Tim, Ireland series, we said we shouldn't care about it. The team should be whitewashing. I'm worried about this partnership right now. When our viewers listen or watch this, the game will be over. So you'll know the answer to the game. So if we've lost, this isn't a good series. If we've won, well done on whitewashing Ireland. Yeah, cool. But so far, what have you made of the series, and what do you make of Temba's injury?
I think the batters have been good. I've been quietly impressed with the batters. Look, I don't think Ireland have been at their best. We did say in the preview that I wasn't expecting them to be all that challenging, particularly in the 50-over format, and they haven't. But you still got to do the business, and I think particularly the guys that are coming in through are starting to make a name for themselves. Ryan Riggleton, Tristan Stubbs, they've had very good tours. They can absolutely say that they have done everything they can to get a, particularly in Ryan's case, a longer running in the Proteas setup. Bowling, the bowling's been decent, and it's been quite hard because I don't think Ireland have been all that impressive. But friend of the podcast, Lazard Williams, has been excellent. So I'm really, really happy that he's been as impressive as he is, because opportunities are difficult when you've got our pace reserves. But he can be hugely proud of what he's achieved in this series.
Yes. Look, I think the players that have stood up that you mentioned have stood up. I think Ricks is it's a key thing. It's important, and I think Matthew Brzezinski would be angry that he's not here. Um, Also to respond, because that's essentially what the opportunity set is. It's now similar to what was like Lazard Williams's interview that we did months ago. Kind of spoke of a man who understood his role, understood that there's pace talent in front of him. And the same thing with Ricks, right? Ricks understands that the only way he can break into this starting 6-man batting lineup is if he scores runs and he breaks the door down to the point where, similar to what Reza Hendricks did, right? Just keep putting down the runs because the batting talent is there and you can't necessarily move. The thing Ricks did in this tournament is that he separated himself from the next guy behind him. He's now given people a chance to say, if there's an injury, Rickleton comes in, right? If Calvarena doesn't do what he need him to do, Ricks comes in because he also can keep, right? And he can bat at the top of the order and all of that, right? And if and we are kind of trying to figure out what that top order is going to look like. Rassie van der Distance also batted really well, so you've also got a situation where Rassie is also looking into the side, Ricks is also looking into the side, and it creates healthy competition in all of this. The other side of this is obviously Timber's injury, right? Does not bode well for the Bangladesh Test series. He could be out for that, which is so key. Timber is very important to this Test side, and I'm not worried about the ODIs. I'm worried about Bangladesh. I'm worried about. I want to make the World Test Championship. I think we should make it. I think this is the best chance South Africa could ever have of making it to the Test Championship. And Timber being injured in an Ireland series that doesn't really matter bothers me a lot. Yes, he hasn't been in the runs. Yes, he's the captain of the T20 side. Yes, this is hindsight is 2020, but it's going to hurt me that this Ireland series has ramifications of whether we can make it to the World Test Championship. And who the next man up? Matthew Brzezinski, Ryan Rickleton. I'm happy that they're in the runs, they're in form. Hopefully they'll step up and they'll provide that additional cover for Timber and going forward. But these injuries are starting to worry me. Timber's getting a lot more injured as we go along. And I just feel sorry for him. I really do, because I know he wants to play Test cricket. I know he wants to lead South Africa, and this would be an incredible thing if he could lead us to the World Test Championship. So hopefully he can get back just before that Bangladesh Test series, and hopefully he'll be able to lead us out. But some worrying times for the Proteas. But yeah, look, I think Brzezinski, it would be a baptism of fire in Bangladesh, but here's his option. Or Rickleton, because it's most likely between the two of them. Tim, what do you make of Timber's injury before we move on to
Yeah,
the World Cup?
I just want to add, if there's one place that you don't want to miss Timber, it's when we need a good player of spin. Timber is probably our best player of spin, and he will be crucial on those slower, lower wickets that will turn as the test goes on. It's irrelevant for this series. It's very important, as you said, for the test series. Hopefully he comes right. It does weaken us, undoubtedly.
Yes,
if he's not in there, it does weaken us from all sectors. There's absolutely no doubt about it.
Yes. It does weaken us. But anyway, let's move on to better news. Not saying Timber's injury is not good news. Well, it is bad news, but we want to lighten up the mood a little bit. Our Proteas Women are in a World Cup, and we haven't spoken much about this T20 World Cup because I think, from my sense, there's a little bit of hope. I think they can make it to the semifinals. I think they can cause an upset and get back to the finals. But they haven't been playing that type of cricket, and the mood in the country is kind of like that. But they made a statement on Friday, a massive statement on Friday, because they beat the other team in the group that would be competing with them for the second spot, and that was the West Indies. I was worried that the West Indies would, put us away. DeAndre Dotton's back. We've seen this before, but on Friday, this team did something. So our women's team in the World Cup played the West Indies. They restricted the West Indies to 118 for 6. Nonkululeko Mlaba took 4 for 29. Just want to put the graphic up so you guys can see. We're tracking them through the World Cup. She took 4 for 29, some really, really key wickets. Marizam Cup took some wickets as well. At the top, she took 2 wickets. And we restricted the West Indies to 118 for 6. But, like we've said, Tim, before, our batting. What type of batting unit is going to come up? And Tasman Brits, who has been, I think, the player of the year this year for 2024, the calendar year. And Laura Volfart, who has been our best player for the longest time. We're like, look, it's fine. We'll just take care of it. 119 run partnership. Here we go. 10 wicket win. A statement win in the first game of the World Cup. Tim, what do you say to that?
It could not have gone any better. That's the truth of it. It could not have gone any better. Even at the halfway mark, I must admit, I was going, this is the total we want to chase, but are we gonna make it easy? Are we gonna make it a struggle? Are we gonna struggle in those last five overs and come up short? It was possible. I thought it is possible. I thought we were still favourites, but that nervousness was still very much for me was there at the halfway mark, despite the fact that I thought we bowled and fielded very, very well. But as you say, a potential banana skin out of the way. It's a huge, huge win for the team. Yeah. It's absolutely massive.
So to help our fans and you, everyone, to navigate this World Cup, this is what happened, right? There's 4 teams in this group, the West Indies, England, Scotland, and Bangladesh. We've now taken the highest ranked team outside of England out. So we've now have that win over the West Indies. We've got our points there. This game today, they play England at 4:00. So when you watch this, the game will be over or still going on. Or if you watch it tomorrow, the game will be over. So you know what's going to happen. This, for me, with the Proteas Women, is a free hit against England. Be as aggressive as you can. Go hard at it and try and see if you can't beat. If you beat England, you automatically give yourself 1 foot into the semi-finals. And then what you need to do to navigate the rest is beat Scotland and Bangladesh, which you can do because you're a better side than them. Those 2 last games are probably doubles. They are W's. Unless if something horrible happens because you can't play spin against Bangladesh or you get surprised by Scotland. But that's not going to happen in this tournament because we are the Proteas Women. Right? And effectively, this game against the West Indies was a quarterfinal. And we went through that. So that's essentially how it's going to happen in this tournament. They play England today, they play Scotland on Wednesday, and they play Bangladesh on Saturday, and then next week are the semi-finals, and that's the end of the tournament. But we've done enough. We've done the hard job first to get into the semi-final. Now it's to navigate Scotland and Bangladesh. If you beat Scotland and Bangladesh, you're in. Unless if the West Indies then decide to go and beat England, which would then be a situation for someone else, which is a situation for, yes?
That's something we can't worry about. That's something we can't foresee. It's focus on the here and now. Focus on the game at hand. Don't focus on what may or may not happen in the future. That's been a problem for this team and the male team in the past. Just we've looked too far ahead. We've looked and we saw who we could play at the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and we found ourselves short because we felt that we needed to do too much in that game that we had in front of us, rather than just win it and worry about it in the future.
And that's what we want. But anyway, well done, ladies. Keep going, keep pushing. This could be our chance. Again, get to the semi-finals and you never know what can happen. It's the hope that kills you, but I've got a lot of hope. Not throwing any stocks away. Okay, Tim, we had so many T20 matches this week. We had Proteas Women, we had T20 KnockOut, we had T20 Challenge. And Tim, I know you're as a purist, you like test match cricket. You want to watch England play Pakistan and Multan. You're watching India play Sri Lanka. You would not Sri Lanka. Who was it? India was playing Bangladesh, and then you watched New Zealand get bamboozled by Sri Lanka, which is not going to happen to us in December. How did you feel about watching all this T20 cricket? Are you okay? Are you fine?
I'm fine, dude. I'm fine. As long as it is local, as long as it is our players, I'm very happy. It's when they start bringing in the international players that I get a little bit chuffy, a little bit
Okay, so it's
Oh,
SA20, but we won't tell people about SA. You will watch SA20 though.
I will. Yeah, SA20
Yes.
is the exception because we've got our local players in there.
Yeah, you don't watch IPL, you don't watch CPL. St. Lucia
No.
won, but we don't care about that. Well done to St. Lucia, by the way. Okay, let's
say-
talk about the Telkom. No, it's not Telkom. Telkom, if you'd like to sponsor me, I'll call this the CSA Telkom Knockout. It's the CSA T20 Knockout. There was a Telkom Knockout as a child. I'm a football fan. I love South African football, and yeah. So when I see TKO, I call it Telkom Knockout. It's a T20 Knockout. The results this week, massive week for the Badgers, actually, because they won 2. The Badgers played on Wednesday last week. They beat the Tuskers by 6 wickets. Chad Laycock got 57 of 35. Kyle Nipper 52 of 42 for the Tuskers. They had a 71-run partnership, which was like a record for the 5th wicket for them. Heath Richards 58 not out of 43 balls, and Kyle Jacobs 3 for 27 to help the Badgers win that game. The Heat, the Northern Cape Heat, took on the Eastern Cape Inyati. We've been calling it the Linyati. We do apologize. It's the Inyati. 141 for 8 by 17 runs. Christopher Kleinans, the name that's coming up. He's probably top of the run scorers there for the Heat and across the tournament. Scored 76 not out. Marco Morea, 64 of 37. Nico van Zyl for the Inyati took 5 for 9, but it was Bashiru, Dean Walters, and Ruan Hosbrook who took 3 wickets each to help the Heat win. The Storm here in Benoni wasn't in Benoni. I think it was in Polokwane, but we'll check that. The Storm scored 200 runs against the Impala. Chris Britt scored 111 of 66. It's the first time a member of the Storm scored 100 because their highest score previously to this was 92, and that was Mangi Mosetle. So it was really, really interesting to see that stat. And Devan Murray picked up by the Paul Royals, DV, SA under 19, 42 not out of 28 balls. But Morne Fenter, another name on the top of the runs chart for Division 2, took 66, 43, and Liam Peters 44 of 32. But the Storm's 200 was too much for the Impala by 12 runs. The Badgers again over the weekend on Saturday took on the Inyati, and they beat them by 8 wickets. Low scoring affair there. Lenlachi were restricted to 114 for 9, and the Badgers getting there with 8 wickets to spare. George Van Heerden, 59 not out. Kyle Jacobs, 47 not out off 50 balls. And Thomas Kaber, 3 for 16 there. The Tuskers, KZN Inland, they are doing really well this year in Division 2 to beat the Heat by 26 runs. Remember this result, everyone. I think this could have promotion relegation implications going forward. Kyle Nipper, 74 not out. Kagiso Rapulana, 48 of 45. Kyle Nipper is also coming up in the run scoring charts. And then for the Heat, Mudiriti Teko, 60 of 43 in vain. Well, not in vain. It's always nice to score runs, but it was not enough to beat the Heat, to beat the Tuskers. And then lastly, in CSA KnockOut, Morne Fenter led the Impala to beat the Mpumalanga Rhinos by 19 runs, scored 49 of 40. Heinrich Petersen of the Impala scored 48 of 33. Morne Fenter then went on to take 3 wickets for 17. And Don Khadebe, Limpopo, I think, player of the year last year, took 3 for 19. Tim, these are all the Division 2 CSA T20 KnockOut results. What team impressed you? What were the performances that impressed you the most?
I think it's the start, as you mentioned. I think it's the Badgers. I think the way the Badgers are going about things, the moment to me is hugely impressive. And now great to see another SA under 19 player, George Van Heerden, getting game time and scoring runs. So he and Stefan Murray are making Division 2 very, very noticeable. They're making their names noticeable down there, which is great to see. And the other one, as you said, you did sort of touch on when I did the previews for this, just as a bit of fun, without any sort of an analytical nose on it, just on our feelings. I really thought that the Heat would knock these people out the park. It made the right signings for this format. It made the right signings for whiteboard cricket. Ron Harsbrook, Hardest for Lund, and those people. But they're up short. And I don't think they're doing an awful lot wrong. It's just the opposition is winning the crucial moments. That's all that's really happening. But it is having a huge effect on their promotion relegation chances. It's still early in the season. They're fourth at the table, but I was expecting the Heat to be further up. And then just finally, quickly, I gotta give credit to Ahmad Amla. Again, it's early in the season. I thought Tuskers would take a couple of seasons to get it right. I thought after what happened last season, off field as well as on field, because there was a lot of issues off field. They lost a lot of good players. I thought it was going to take at least a season to get it right. And they found some players, youngsters, as well as people with experience like Nipper, and they really are doing exceptionally well in this tournament. So they are surprising me. But I've got to say, Ahmed Abla, you're doing good stuff.
Look, the other person I would like for you to talk about is Jeffrey Teana. It looks like he's finally got that Eastern Storm playing in really good cricket and winning games. And let's have a look at the log, Tim. The Storm lead with 16 points after 4 matches. The Tuskers, 13 points after 4. The Impalas are still up there, the defending champions, with 13 points. The Garden Route Badgers are in 4th position with 11. Northern Cape Heat with 2 wins at 8 in 6th. Were 5th, and then the Rhinos in 6th with no result, and the Eastern Cape Linyati with with no wins, and so Inyati, with no wins, and so that's the CSA T20 knockout log. Jeff Turner doing a great job there. Keep going. That Eastern Storm team is a lot more dangerous, and if they win this T20. This team is actually, I think this team is more set up for 4-day and 50 overs. So if they can, do a 1 and 2, we could get them promoted next year, which is something that you could look to. But the Tuskers are going to make it very hard for them. And when they play each other, that's the game they need to look at.
Yeah. But you just touched on it there. That's why I didn't give the Storm a chance in this tournament. I agree with you. I thought this squad is for the longer formats. It's not for T20s. But it's proven me wrong. Happy to be proven wrong so far. And they're certainly the team to beat. Them and the Tuskers, both being very impressive.
Yeah. Yes. And that's an important thing. So we love it from that perspective for the Storm to see someone there. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's Division 2. Let's look at the fixtures for the week. They normally play Wednesdays and Saturdays. On this Wednesday, the Badgers take on the Northern Cape Heat. The Inyati take on the Storm in East London. The Tuskers take on the Rhinos in Mpumalanga. So you'd be expecting a win for the Storm, a win for the Tuskers, and possibly a win for the Heat. But you never know. The Badgers, the Inyati, and the Rhinos could come and do something. And then on Saturday, the Heat take on the Impalas. The Storm take on the Tuskers, which is a game to watch. Saturday, that's the game to watch. It has top-of-the-table implications. And then the Rhinos take on the Inyati in a basement dweller matchup there as well. So that's also going to be on. So look out for that on the CSA YouTube channel. Really, really awesome cricket happening. It was incredible cricket. Lots of runs, lots of wickets, lots of drama. And there was drama in the CSA T20 Challenge. Let's have a look at their results. We'll look at Friday's results quickly. We're going to talk about Sunday's results. Friday, the Titans scoring 200 in Durban, beating the Dolphins by 51 runs. Rivaldo Moonsamy, 81 not out of 47. Donovan Ferreira is coming back into his own, 59 not out of 25. Marcus Ackerman scoring 41 for the Dolphins, but Roelof van der Merwe taking 4 for 31 in Durban. Really, really good to see him there. Boerland and the Knights played to a tie, 141 apiece. Dion Forrester took a hat trick in the first innings to dismiss the Boerland, but he also came into the runs, 42 not out, and Grant Rulofsson of Boerland, 51 of 38. He's having a good time there. But Boerland ended up winning the eliminator. I think it was a low-scoring eliminator. I think it was like a one. It was like a one run or something weird like that. Two runs.
Two runs. And then so they had to defend 2. And then the Knights bowled with Punky. And Punky got a wicket with the first ball. So it was 2 needed with 5 wickets in hand. And with 2 needed with 1 wicket in hand with 5 balls to go. It was incredibly tense.
Yeah, it was incredibly tense, and that's what it was. But yes, then another game. There was the Lions playing the Warriors at the Wanderers. Wandile Makwetu, listening to what I said on Monday or Thursday, decided to prove to me that he's a T20 player with a 55 of 41 balls. Mitch van Buren, 41 of 16. Look, and Wandile, I'm sorry. I didn't understand your game. I was not familiar with your T20 game, my man. Let that continue. And Dile Mokhakani, 41 or 47. Junaid Dawood coming in. Ngaba Peter's gone. He's not here. He's in the UAE. And it takes 5 for 30. Which is really, really good, and really good to see that there's that competition at the Lions. Warriors coming short there by 62 runs. And then the Dragons, 146 for 7, playing 142. They won by 3 wickets. Vian Libba scoring 55 37. He was picked up by Joburg Super Kings in the SA20. Eddie Moore, 38 of 31. You'll see him again later. Marco Jansen is now bowling. That was the surprise to me on Friday night. 3 for 34. Cohen Mungru, you know him, 2 for 22. And that was Friday's results, Tim. Let's talk about this Marco Jansen thing, Tim. Is Marco injured? Because we're told he's injured. There was a press conference with Shukri last week where I was like, no, they said Marco's injured. Or remember the previous one when he didn't play West Indies, they said he was resting. He was being rested. He's back now.
Well,
can't he go to Bangladesh?
So I think it's a workload thing. That's what I think. And I don't necessarily agree with it. I don't necessarily agree with wrapping people in cotton wool all the time. There are certain series where they don't need to play, but not the previous press conference, but the one before that you mentioned. When it was something to do with workload or something, he was playing in America. He went to America. He played in the Major League Cricket. So he played cricket during that time. Now I didn't attend the last press conference, but I'd be interested to know if he did actually say he was injured. Because if he said he was injured, that makes it very, very confusing.
Gerald and Marco are injured, and I assumed he clumped them into one bucket. And that was like, oh, he's injured now, but then he's playing. So, because I remember even Director of Cricket, Enoch Nkwea, speaking about rotating the fast bowlers, and then we got this injury crisis and I was like, but you can't rotate. But then why are we resting Marco? That was my comment in the West Indies. And now I thought Kagiso was going to be rested for this one, but he's not. So someone needs to tell us what's going on. Like, is Marco no longer able to play Test cricket? Because he should be playing against Bangladesh. We're trying to get to the World Test Championship. And if he's bowling, but you can tell me, 4 overs versus 20 overs a day, workload. We've got a month for him to get this to get his fitness right. And if he's fit enough to play in a T20 match, he should be fit enough. He should be getting there. Should be there by the end of the month, effectively to go on camp. So something's wrong because I want Marco in that squad. I don't want Vian.
Well, you might get what you want because we were going to discuss that. Just crossed my mind. Berger's not going. They are going to announce a replacement.
Wait, Nandre Berger's not going. Why?
Berger's injured.
Oh,
There's a stress fracture, stress related injury. So Nandre's not going to Bangladesh, and a replacement is going to be announced. Hopefully this week, you would think. So you may well get your wish. I don't have any exclusives on this, but you may well get your wish.
I don't know. Let's see. I'm thinking Lazard might get the call up. I don't know about you. I think it might go that way. I don't know, but we'll see. But Lazard will do well. I've got no doubt there. Okay, Sunday. This is what happened on Sunday in the CSA T20 Challenge. The Knights hosted the Warriors in Bloemfontein, and the Knights went on to score 166 for 9. They beat the Warriors by 16 runs. Garner Tar, you remember him? He shot on the scene last year, 50 of 28. Jacques Snyman, a name we haven't heard in a while, 42 of 26. Matthew Bretsky, 66 of 46 in a losing cause with Jordan Hammond, 51 of 48. And Malusi Siboto and Aaron Pangiso had them. They had 108 opening run stand in 11 overs. And they lost this game. Something's going on at the Warriors, but that should give Robbie P some nightmares. It is wow. No, it wasn't even in Bloom. It was in PE. It was in Gqeberha. My word. I thought they were going to win.
They were cruising, dude. They were cruising. They were at absolute cruise control. They were cruising so much that when Brzezinski got to 50, I changed the channel. I went to watch a different game. I said, nah, I'm going to watch the Province game instead.
I think you missed out on the Pangi Siboto show.
I did.
Oh, my word. Pangiso took 2 wickets and Melissa took 4, and it was just the rest was history. They broke that opening stand and was done. Yeah, that's what happens, eh? Okay, next game. Lions winning their second game. They're just winning a few games now. It's the second game. 156 for 5 against the Dolphins. They beat them by 9 runs. Josh Richards, 38 for 32. Evan Jones, 29 of 10. Marcus Ackerman, 32 of 19. There was a rear guard situation with Kaya Zondo there. 50-run partnership there, but it wasn't enough for the Dolphins. Junaid Dawood again, 3 for 22. We're starting to see a bit of a pattern with leg spin here in this competition. The next game is the Dragons, 176 for 5, beating Boland by 3 runs. Mikael Prince, we spoke about him last week, 83 of 55. Yadaman Malan, 35 of 28. Grant Rulofson, 63 of 43. And Relisiba Ngwepe in the bowling, 2 for 15 for the Dragons to win another game. Western Province won their first game against the Titans. They beat them by 7 wickets in Centurion at Supersport Park. Eddie Moore, 88 of 47, not out. Donovan Ferreira, 35 of 27, but it wasn't enough because the bowling was all about Wesley Becher. 2 for 22, including probably one of the most incredible runouts you've ever seen. He decided to play soccer. And normally when we see these things, when the bowler's running in his follow-through, trying to get a run out with his shoe and trying to pass the ball to the wickets and break the wickets, it doesn't work out well. This time, it did. Wesley Becher, his foot must have been very sore. But running out Rulo van der Merwe in that game. And George Linda, another name you haven't heard in a while, 2 for 23. How was Sunday for you, Tim? How was Sunday for you?
Amazing. Doubly amazing because it was unexpected. You saw Titans on Friday make 210. So I was thinking, oh my word, this is not going to be pretty. This is going to be very, very menacing on Sunday. And it was a complete transformation. It was a complete change of fortunes in the Titans' home ground. It was a hugely impressive win. We were 40 for 3 in the chase, and I was already thinking, okay, that's it. That's it. That's done. Birmingham's out for nothing. Smith's out first ball. It's it. It's we've tried. We've bowled well. And then Eddie Moore, he isn't known as a T20 cricketer. He isn't known of this format. He much prefers to build an innings. Just then went into overdrive. He just said, you know what? I'm going to show you all. I'm going to show you that I can do it, that I can play at this format, and that I can make a statement. And my word, it was a statement innings of some note. I don't think I've ever seen him, forget the amount of runs, forget the 88. I don't think I've seen him play an innings like that in this format throughout his career. I've seen it a couple of 20s and 30s, which were exciting. But this innings had everything. And a Titans team, which was very, very experienced in terms of the bowling, didn't seem to have an answer, which also found me quite surprised. But I was pleasantly surprised. I still think there's problems with the Bristol Province team. I'd still stand by my prediction that they're going to struggle to make the playoffs. But hey, beat the Titans in their own backyard. I'll take that one every day.
Yeah, well, there were a couple of things for me that I looked at on Sunday and I was like, interesting. Province's lineup doesn't scream T20, and like the idea of Eddie Moore at the top, maybe he's changing his thing and he's going to have to do this consistently. Mikael Prince is someone I need to be looking out for. If you're looking for a young batsman of color, he's the next in line, I think, and he's really, really batting down the things there. Yanama Malan's turning a corner, slow corner, but he's turning. On Friday, he scored a run of ball 28, and then yesterday 35. So something's really happening there. So that's something bubbling under the surface at Northwest, and then the inclusion of Marco Jansen in this for this tournament is going to be quite key for them. And you can see with their log position because they're top of the log and they are playing some incredible cricket, and they're a team to watch and enjoy as well. The Lions are now playing cricket in October, and they're really, really doing well. Seems like September's their voodoo month, it seems, which is really cool. But Junaid Dawood is going to be an interesting choice with Ngaba Peter coming back. Does he come back directly? Do they keep faith in Junaid Dawood? That Lions batting lineup still bothers me. Hamza there. There's a lot of players who aren't T20 players, and I hate to be labeling players as such, but they aren't nearly that good at this. And so, we're still living off of Mitch and Evan Jones. Josh Richards, this format might not be for him, but it's a good showing. Wandile Makwetu had that 50 on Friday. Now, you just want consistency from guys like that who have been given opportunities, right? And then the Knights bowling attack are going to be very tough to beat. Low scoring type of attack. You know what Pangisa is going to get you. Malusi Sapoto is looking very good. And Dane Pete there as well. So I like what the Knights are doing. The Warriors, I'm just worried. The squad looks like a very strong squad and probably one of the best squads you have. Same thing with the Dolphins, but where are the wins? We need more wins. It is the start of the season, so we've got to give it time. There's 14 games a season, so early-ish prediction, but just worried about the Warriors and the Dolphins. And so, looking at the log, the Auto Investment Dragons played 3-1-3 at the top of the log. The Titans, Momentum Multiplied Titans, played 3-1-2, and the other one was a no result against Boland. The DP World Lions, there was a no result somewhere there. It's 2 wins with 2 bonus points. Sorry, 2 wins with 2 bonus points and a loss. The Lions, 2 wins, 1 with a bonus point at 9 points in third. Western Province, World Sports Betting, Western Province, 3 wins. No, not 3 wins. 1 win with a bonus point. No, yes, 1 with a bonus point and 1 win and no result. And I don't know where they got a bonus point from, but yeah, 7 points. Gold Rush, Boland, 1 win and 1 no result in there. in fifth position. The Knights in sixth position, 1 win out of 3 with 4 points. Warriors 1 win out of 3 with 4 points, and the Dolphins no wins so far in their 3 matches. Should we be worried about the Dolphins, Tim?
I'm not worried about them. They are just missing out. The games are genuinely close. Look, that isn't to say I'm not worried about certain individuals. I don't think that they are playing to their level at the moment. I think they are, and I think those people that we're relying on are not quite contributing. But as a team, I still expect big things from them. I think they will still win a trophy this season, which will be a success for them. I still think they've got a very, very good squad. T20 cricket is just a little bit fickle. It could go against you in a very short space of time. Marco has been in fantastic. Not Marco. Marcus Ackerman. Marcus Ackerman has been in very good form, so that was a huge plus for them. But I'm not worried about them. Talking about worried there, if I can go on to a team that I am worried about, it's Gold Rush Borland. I am very, very worried about them. Now, that game that they had against the Knights that went to the Super Over, that should never, ever, ever, ever have gone to Super Over. Am I right? It was the Knights, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. It should never have got to they were absolutely in cruise control. They were winning the game comfortably. The Knights could not score quickly enough. They didn't really have an answer. Lost lots of early wickets. And Borland decided, you know what? We won a festival game. We won an exciting game. It was the most exciting game of the weekend by far. But it came about because they dropped 5 catches. 5 drop catches. 3 of which were, I have to say, I'm sorry, but 3 of them were easy. Really, they were basic catches. Their coach is Justin Ontong. A lot of people think that he's number 2 to Herschel Gibbs in terms of fielding. I'm very.
Where
very
do we put Jonty Rhodes in this thing? Because I had a discussion with someone over the week. I'm like, no, Hirsch. I'm like, I see you, Hirsch, but you were born in a different era to me, and there was a man who was flying around. But if you're saying Jonty Rhodes, Justin Ontong is number 2 to Hirsch, where's Jonty Rhodes? But that's an aside. But answer.
Yeah, I get your point. I think that there's a separation there of generations. Let's put it that way. So I'm very, very worried about them. They allowed that game to get exciting. They allowed it to get tense. It should never have been that way. And it just in general, I'm a bit worried about them. They still rely too much on spin to get them out of the fire. Keith Dudgeon is a good signing. He was fantastic in that particular game. Without him, they don't win that.
That bowling attack has 0 pace at all. There's no pace. Yeah. It's medium paces everywhere.
Yeah. It's the only shining light that I have for them is Grant Rulofsson. We know Grant struggled last season. We know, and I was worried. He needed a fresh start. He needed a new team. And I was a bit worried. Back-to-back 50s, I'm not worried anymore from his point of view. He looks in form. He's scoring runs. He's scoring quickly. So that's a positive. But in a general sense, they've got to improve massively if they want to. If they don't want to have worry about relegation, like they did last season, it was very, very close. Then they're going to have to improve massively. They've made the right sort of signings. But I'm still very, very worried about them.
No, yes, very worried about. It's ominous signs from Tim early on in the season. Like they'll be like, Tim, give us a break, man. It's still early. We'll sort it out. Anyway, let's have a look at the fixtures for the week ahead. We're gonna have 8 fixtures like last week as well. The Warriors travel to Cape Town to take on Western Province. The Dragons travel to Durban to take on the Dolphins on Wednesday night at 6 p.m. All of these games. The Lions travel to Bloem on a away stand for them. They go from Bloem and then they'll go to Boland. And then Boland actually go to Pretoria to host to play the Titans at Supersport Park on Wednesday night. On Saturday in Paarl, the Lions are hosted by Boland, Gold Rush Boland, and then the Warriors are hosting the Dragons, which is a very interesting game. It's a Senran Mutusami revenge game, and it's going to be quite interesting to see how that's going to turn out. And then on Sunday, the Titans take on the Knights, and the Dolphins look to get a W against WP in Durban. So that's going to be quite interesting to see. Any game here, Tim, that you're like, yeah, this is a must watch?
The two Province games. So the Province game against the Warriors, I think it's going to be a really good game. And then if the Dolphins get the win at home against the Dragons, that Dolphins Western Province game, it doesn't matter what generation you're from, Dolphins Western Province is always a good game of cricket.
Yeah. And so it's gonna be quite interesting, and I like that. Mine is the Warriors versus Dragons on Saturday. That is going to be a really interesting game. Two young teams playing against each other. Marco Jansen against his old team, and Senran Mutusami against his old team. Great young batting lineups against each other. Good bowling attacks against each other. It's going to be quite interesting. It's going to be really, really fun over the weekend. Okay, Tim, we've reached the end of all the discussion of all the games. We've got more T20 games to come. How are you feeling? Are you good? Anything to say about this week? Anything to say about the week ahead before we close off?
No, I'm good. I think we've tackled quite a lot there in a relatively short space of time. It's still too early to make predictions on who's going to be making the playoffs and that kind of thing. I think next week we can then start to make sort of predictions on that front. But I think it's still too early for that.
Look, and a win changes everything. 2 wins in a week changes everything. And that's what we saw last year. You just need to keep going. You need to start getting a run of games going. And some teams have started early, the Dragons, but this is the Dragons' tournament. From here on out, it gets a lot harder for them as they go into the 4-day series. The 1-day cup, they can hold their own, and that's next year. But the 4-day series is going to be quite tough for them. And this is how they stay up. They do this, and you ask yourself, how is a team like the Dragons consistently staying up? Is that they pick a format and they're like, this is my format, this is what we do, and we do it well and we stay up. The other teams, what are you good at? What are you good at? And that's what we're going to see with and that's the reason why we're worried about Boland, because we're sitting there going, you don't have a pacer. You're reliant on spinners. The Knights, this should be your tournament. You can actually if you get a top 4 type of thing, that could be enough for you to stay up. So those are the things you need to look at and you need to fight. And I think the Knights might actually quite do well here, even if you just need to get, like, if they can finish in the top 4, and it's possible in this format, you can do this. And so it's a long way to go still. We've got like 11 games to go. So that is, we play 2 games a week. It's about 6 weeks. 6 weeks to get this done. So in the midst of a Proteas tour and everything else, so there's going to be some upsets along the way. But outside of that, remember, the Ireland game ends tonight, so you'll know the series ends tonight. You'll know what happens to the Ireland game. Please send us your comments and let us know what you think. I think Ireland might actually win this one, but I've been proven wrong by this Proteas team before, but South Africa should win. But the way things are going, I don't know. And then in a couple of minutes' time, the Proteas Women take on England, which is going to be so cool, so crucial. Win this game, you're looking at the semifinals, girls. That's all we need. Outside of that, thank you very much. See you again, probably next week, from ourselves here, myself and Tim. Remember, like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. We're also on Instagram. Follow us at Full Quota Pod, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Become part of the community. Send links to people, bring people in. And finally, please do support us at Buy Me a Coffee. We appreciate every contribution and to keep us going. Thanks for all the contributions so far, and let us keep this train going. It's from myself and Tim. It's goodbye. Enjoy the cricket this week. There's so much cricket. And Lesale. ka kagiso.